Hey guys, so I'm Steve from Darkroom, and we're going to talk today about problem solving our way to growth. I like to, when I'm talking about these concepts, I like to invent fake companies to illustrate. So let's start off with this brand here. It's called Aquatube. And what they do is they're a D2C company that sells TVs for your goldfish. So you have a goldfish, you're concerned that he needs to be entertained, you buy him a TV. Huge market. They're seeing a lot of growth month over month. And then they run into a big revenue decline and everyone is freaking out. So CMO is thinking, she's asking the right questions, right? She's saying, what's going on? Why is it happening? And how can we fix it? We have other elements getting involved in the problem-solving process here as well. We have a founder, maybe one that's very creatively inclined as opposed to quantitative. And she received a recent promotional email that the brand sent out. And she said, why'd we send this email? It's off-brand. You know, this is probably why our revenue is down. All emails now require my approval going forward. So we're taking back control, right? We're starting to not trust the team working on the program. We have the CFO getting involved now. He's looking at some of these upper funnel branded campaigns like YouTube, and he's saying, I don't see many results from this. Let's stop spending there. Let's cut it. And then the founder's involved again, and she says, hey, our customer is Gen Z. Why are we spending on Facebook? We're an Instagram brand, or we're a TikTok brand, or this or that. So now we've got preconceived kind of notions that might not be very data-driven, and everyone's opinions are starting to get involved. And we have the marketing team who's saying, okay, we're really scared now. This has become a fear-driven sort of environment. We don't know exactly what's causing the problem, but we're gonna try to fix it. Here's a big list of things that we're gonna throw at the wall to try to fix it. And it seems like marketing lends itself to this sort of unstructured, very emotional-driven framework for lack of framework for problem solving. And so at Darkroom, when we thought about how can we build a strategy service that meets the needs of the modern brand, one of the questions we asked was, what even is marketing strategy? And there are a lot of different definitions for that. One answer is that marketing strategy is ongoing, structured problem solving. And that doesn't mean that you need to be reactive and wait for problems to pop up. So problem solving can be proactive as well. In fact, anytime you have a goal that's separate from where you currently are, you've got a problem. You've got these barrier metrics that separate your North Star goal, be it revenue or whatever it is. And you need to affect those metrics in order to get to where you want to be. And these guys in the strategy consulting, the management consulting space, they're paid lots of money by huge companies to solve problems. And so one of the things we thought about was what's in their toolkit, right? What can we borrow from what they do? Because, you know, in that setting, there's a little less of a lack of structure as there is in our kind of messy startup adjacent world that we live in. And this is the framework and the methodology that underlies pretty much all the problem solving that they do, and it's called MISI. And it stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And what it can be used to do is create what we call an issue tree or a root cause analysis to find the root cause of a problem that we can then attack in a systematic way. So the way we do that is by taking a metric and breaking it down into its component factors, which are called drivers. The mutually exclusive part of the definition it means that the drivers don't overlap. So we can examine each of them in an isolated and organized way. And then the collectively exhaustive part of the definition is a fancy way of saying that all possible drivers, all possible factors in this problem are included and accounted for. And that's incredibly freeing. That means that there's no mysterious X factor that we're not anticipating that might be impacting our problem. We're making our best effort to put all of the factors on the paper when we start our problem solving. We're not gonna check back in on the Fish TV company. They're out of business. They didn't want to do structured problem solving. So we've got a new brand here. It's Partway Motors. They're a D2C company. They sell cars, and the car gets you halfway to your destination, and then it stops working on purpose so that you can run the rest of the way, and it's like a fitness lifestyle concept. Revenue is very high. It's a bigger market than you might expect, but it's down year over year. So how do we analyze revenue the MECE way? And there are a number of different ways that you can break down revenue, but probably the most accurate way to do it in this context would be to look at your revenue as being produced from two sources. The first is your existing customers, your repeat purchases, and the other is your new customers. So we're gonna examine revenue from existing customers, and it looks like revenue from existing customers is up. The car stops working halfway through every trip, so you have to buy a new one anyway, so they've nailed the lifetime value part of the equation. So we're gonna actually just cross off that branch and move over to the next branch and look at where new customer revenue is sitting. And it looks like revenue from new customers is down. So we've got our first culprit and our first portion of the tree that we can travel down to try to find a problem. And when we're analyzing revenue from new customers, traditionally in e-commerce, a good breakdown is traffic times conversion rate times average order value. How much traffic are you driving to the site? At what rate do they convert into being paid customers? And how much are they spending each time they order? So we go down the first part of the tree here and we look at traffic, and one way we can break it down is that your traffic consists of your paid traffic plus your organic traffic. And so we're gonna examine each branch and we take a look at paid, and your paid can consist of your different channels that you're running on is a good way to break it up. And let's say we travel down the paid path and we're looking at where our traffic comes from on Meta. We continue to build structured frameworks to make sure that we're exhaustively examining the problem, not leaving anything out, and examining each factor to see where our true culprit really lies. So on Meta, we're serving impressions to audiences, and then a certain number of them are clicking through. So we need to look at our click-through rate, and we need to look at how many impressions are being served. Let's say with this brand, the click-through rate has been steady, so we're gonna look at impressions. Are we spending more? Are we spending less than we were last year? And how have our CPMs, or the core cost of those impressions of serving ads to users, potentially changed? And then when you get to the metrics like conversion rate that are a little more qualitative, it gets a little trickier, but you can still do this type of analysis. You just need to find logical ways to break down those metrics. And so with conversion rate, one method we'd like to use is we look at motivation versus friction. What are the points within the customer journey where you're motivating the customer to take the types of actions that lead them to being a paying customer? And then what are the points in the funnel that cause friction? Okay, and let's just say that traffic and conversion rate have been examined, they're holding steady. This would actually mean that they're driving the exact same amount of orders as they did last year, but let's say the problem isn't there, and we're going over to the AOV side of the equation, so average order value or average revenue per user. And the traditional way of breaking down revenue really is price times quantity. Now we're doing it at the per order level, and we're looking at, did the average price of the product change over time? Are we discounting more? That could have an effect on that. Or are customers perhaps opting into cheaper products that's bringing down the price? And it looks like our price year over year is about the same, but the quantity has indeed come down. People were buying 3.5 cars on average per checkout in 2022. Now they're only purchasing 1.8. So we found our culprit. And once we find that root cause, the solutions start to flow naturally. And more importantly, they flow from a data-driven place. So our CTR is down. We need to be focusing on our creative optimizations, maybe a creative refresh. Our basket size is down. What are we doing about on-site, cross-selling, bundling tactics, things like that? Our cost per click on Google is up. Let's focus on ad copy optimizations. Let's focus on smart bidding and what our strategy is there. Our conversion rate is down. How can we remove friction in the customer journey? This is something that you can do on a yellow pad, on a napkin, in a spreadsheet, whatever it is, and you've already taken a major step towards bringing a lot of structure to your problem-solving process, and then everyone's much happier.